Howdo, dear viewer. Welcome to another Wacky Wednesday. Yes, hello and welcome. Today we are looking at Level Earth Observer's review of the Mars Perseverance landing. Obviously, with him being a flat earther, he's got all sorts of problems going on, not least of all a minus IQ level, and his belief in other conspiracies, COVID, anti-masking, mud floods, you know, the usual crap that a backward simpleton like Leo believes in. So, let's take a look at his video, and let's see what he's got to say for himself.
Mars Perseverance, which launched in July 2020, cost $2.4 billion to build and launch, and will cost another $300 million to land and operate during its first year on Mars. So let's have a look what's got the press and the kids in the control room worked up into a frenzy.
Not quite sure what the cost of anything has got to do with you. You don't pay any tax to America, so NASA can spend their budget on whatever they bloody well like.
Now the sad thing is about all these shots when the control rooms at NASA, they are literally photo shoots, taking advantage of naive kids who work here, who get worked up into a frenzy because their ego's involved over some data that comes in on a screen.
Straight off the bat, you know, worked up into a frenzy is his new catchphrase. I'm going to take credit for the fact that he doesn't say demonstrable anymore, because in my last video, link to that will be in the description below. So, and he says it's all staged and all the rest of it to impress the kids. I'm not seeing many kids on there. There's a bald fella there, there's a middle-aged guy in the middle row, and then going that way there's, you know, several other people. They don't look like kids to me.
And you can see the cameras are all about to capture this moment in time, so this gets played back for years to come.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Cameras record moments in history. I'm glad the cameras are there. What's your problem? What's your point?
Are somehow trying to solidify this charade, this Martian charade, this heliocentric charade.
Martian charade, heliocentric charade, which one is it? They're not trying to solidify anything, they're just recording an historic moment. I still don't know what your problem is.
So let's have a look at these young, innocent, naive kids being taken advantage of, as we are literally viewing a photo shoot of naive kids getting worked up over data on a screen.
Naive kids getting worked up over data on a screen? You mean the scientists and the mission controllers and everybody like that? I'm not seeing many kids there.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance.
Wow, what a moment in history that is. And it just, you know, I pity people like Level Earth Observer who just completely deny it. They totally deny it. No evidence to back anything up. They just completely deny it. It's not real. NASA's fake. NASA's lying. NASA doing this. NASA doing that. We should really look at some NASA documents, because in one of them it says the Earth is non-rotating and stationary. So, NASA lying about that? Or are you just cherry picking now?
Sad, really, when you can see it for what it is. It's quite sad. Just innocent, naive nerds being taken advantage of. And literally, you can see in there loads of cameramen, people taking pictures and filming it for records to come to try and solidify this charade that is heliocentric space.
Charade that's heliocentric space? I don't think that makes any sense, to be honest. But is it a Martian charade or is it a heliocentric charade? Is it both? Oh, there's only one person being naive here, and that's you. Sorry, not sorry.
So at 2.4 billion, let's see what is being served up now. That was when they landed. Let's see now what is being served up. Because if the numbers on the screen are getting these kids worked up, surely the things that are to come are going to send these kids into overdrive.
Mentioned 2.4 billion again, and yet you haven't paid one single penny in tax towards the cost of it. So shut your gob. And you say that, you know, they're getting worked up into a frenzy over, you know, numbers on a screen, data on a screen. Well, yeah, that data has actually shown the Perseverance rover landing. That's what they're getting worked up over. Not just the data, but the actual occurrence, the actual happening of that thing landing on an alien planet. Amazing stuff.
Let's have a look. Latest, hot off the press.
This is an image of the rover Perseverance slung beneath the descent stage.
This clown made himself look ridiculous with the last Mars charade. He didn't have a Scooby-Doo. He was supposed to be the manager of the project. He didn't have a clue about anything.
I'm willing to bet he had more of a clue than what you or any other flat earther conspiracy whack job or backward simpleton had to say.
Propulsion backpack as it is being lowered to the surface of Mars. You can see the dust kicked up by the rover's engines. We're probably about 2 meters or so above the surface of Mars. We're still checking the timing of this image. It's just hot off the presses. You can see the mechanical bridles that hold the rover underneath the descent stage. It has 3 straight lines heading down to the top deck. And then the curly electrical umbilical.
Matey boy, you make this about as exciting as a trip to the morgue.
Bit like one of your videos then.
You're not feeling it, and neither am I. You're not convincing, and neither's the image on the screen. Even if it is real.
Even if it is real. So you do accept that we can go to Mars. Interesting.
It's hardly scientific. It's not blowing me away. It might get the kids in the control room worked up, but dear oh dear.
Well, it's getting me worked up. I'm getting quite excited, actually. Wish Mrs. Jones was here.
That is taking all of the electrical signals from the descent stage down to the computer inside the belly of the rover.
This image was acquired by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO, one of our orbiters.
And then you'll get served up this. Some Mars orbiter takes a picture of this. And what's that top right? It's supposed to be the craft coming in with a parachute. Unbelievable.
Looks pretty believable to me. Why wouldn't you have an orbiter taking some footage and taking some photographs of the Mars rover landing? Why would you not do that?
That's orbiting around.
Nurse, he's having trouble breathing. Can we sort something out for him? An oxygen tent, maybe? Gotcha.
On Mars. You can see here in the zoomed in part of the image in the upper right, our spacecraft with a fully inflated parachute and hanging underneath it, our protective entry capsule.
It's amazing, amazing stuff. I've always had a fascination with space and planets and all the rest of it in the cosmos. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff.
If you look just below to the little circle that you see on the screen, this was our eventual touchdown point.
Yeah, right. I'm sure it was, me old mate.
Well, he's not trying to convince people like you, is he? Really? You think they're putting on this charade for a few thousand flat earthers? Get over yourselves.
I'm sorry. Again, not convincing. ridiculous amount of money, naive kids in the control room being taken advantage of, images that I could produce for a ridiculously low cost, stories being made up left, right and centre that can't be verified. This is like the perfect fraud, isn't it?
Well, they can be verified. You get together with a few of your chums, you send something off to Mars and take some photographs of it. In fact, you don't even have to do that. Get together with some chums, if you've got any friends that is, get together with them, buy a decent telescope and have a bloody look for yourself. It's not that difficult.
Point. This was an image captured by our rear hazard avoidance camera.
I mean, even in this bloke's voice, he's not exactly buzzing with enthusiasm. Perhaps he knows, unlike the kids in the control room. I mean, it's difficult to get excited over this tosh, isn't it? Let's be fair.
Maybe that's just the way he talks. Maybe that's just his personality. Yeah. What do you get excited over? Tower cranes?
So this is looking backwards from the Perseverance rover's perspective.
So this is a picture of with the covers still on.
Wow, she seems nice. I wonder what she looks like. Crikey, brains and beauty. She could almost be a female version of me.
Please tell me it gets better, Harley. Surely it gets better, darling.
Patience.
And if we go to the next one.
There you go. Told you, patience. It's a virtue.
Now we have our somewhat lower resolution, but...
You asked for something better, darling, and now you got something better, darling. That's demonstrable.
Please tell me, what is scientific about these pictures, these stories? What is scientific about that?
Well, they're observations, and observations are part of science. You know, part of the scientific method. It's one of the first conditions of meeting the scientific method. And that's demonstrable. You got me worked up into a frenzy.
How does this help people suffering right now as a result of what's going on?
Suffering from what exactly? See, NASA has a budget. The health thing over there has a budget and all the rest of it. You know, and NASA's budget is less than 1% of the actual budget, the entire budget of the US. So I still don't know what your problem is.
Does it? This is kind of irrelevant. It's a charade.
Irrelevant. It's a charade. You know, this guy's got over 1,000 followers, right? And when he puts up videos like this and just says it's a charade, oh, it's obvious it's a hoax, it's obvious they're lying and all the rest of it, and they just lap it up. He doesn't show any evidence. They just lap it up. All of his sheep, you know, just go, bah, great video, great video. And he never shows any evidence for anything.
Given the so-called achievements made back in space in the 60s, all this should have been done years ago, and it should have been filmed, mapped. We should have satellites, radio towers on Mars and all sorts by now, but no, still this silly charade. Daft pictures, naive kids in control rooms, ridiculous stories.
Well, the moon landings didn't happen until 69, and went into the early 70s. And that was it, the Apollo program, done and dusted. Didn't need to go back to the moon because they got all the data that they wanted anyway. You know, you only need to go somewhere for a few times, and then you don't need to go again. It's a bit like Plymouth.
Do we get anything that would even resemble something that would be classed as science?
You're looking at it right now. Observations are part of science. That there, my friend, is an observation.
I mean, I would have thought filming, coming in HD footage would be classed as scientific.
So what's the difference between having something, a video recorded in standard definition and high definition? What's the difference? Still the same video footage. No difference whatsoever. So what's your problem? You're just shifting the goalposts now. You've been given footage, you've been given photographs, and now you want them in high definition. You're still photographing the same thing, still videoing the same thing. It's like me, put me in high definition. Then you'll see this bloody humongous spot there that I've just popped.
But no, we'll just get these dodgy camera angles and just ridiculous explanations and whatever else. Again, about as much fun as a fucking rattlesnake in a lucky dip.
Dodgy camera angles. I think that's quite a good image of the landscape of Mars, that actually. You know, and then you're going on about ridiculous stories. Again, not backing anything up with any substance, any evidence. Nothing, as per usual. But your sheep will just lap it all up, won't they?
Really high resolution compared to what we've seen before.
Haley again.
On other previous missions, and now in color. So this is our first color front HazCam image and our first color image from the surface of Mars.
Yep, and amazing, 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 amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's freaky that this is on another planet. Millions and millions of miles away. It's on another planet. I mean, oh, I'm just speechless for the first time since 1987.
This is not...
No offence, love, big deal, that could be anywhere, ridiculous costs involved. This isn't scientific whatsoever, Hallie.
Yes, it is, as I've said before. Observations are part of science. You can't move on, or you can't advance science without making some observations. I think I'm just going to leave him to it because he's really doing my head in now. All he does for the rest of the video is just complain because they've taken a photo of the track of the Mars rover itself. That's something that I would do. I would point a camera at each of the tracks just to make sure they're working properly. Why wouldn't you? Simple, really. So, that is Level Earth Gobshite all done and dusted. Please join me on the next video. Every single Wednesday is a Wacky Wednesday video coming out where I look at stupid peoples on some internets. Yeah, so don't forget to like, don't forget to share, subscribe, and etc, etc, etc. So for now, 2 Pip.